The story of Henry VIII and his 6 wives remains one of history's most compelling royal sagas. The English king's marital adventures between 1509 and 1547 reshaped religion, politics, and the very structure of the English monarchy. His desperate quest for a male heir and his passionate nature led him through 6 marriages, each leaving an indelible mark on English history. Catherine of Aragon, the Spanish princess, married 1509 to 1533. Henry's first wife was Catherine of Aragon, a Spanish princess and widow of his elder brother Arthur. Their marriage began with genuine affection and political promise, uniting England with the powerful Spanish Empire. Catherine was intelligent, pious, and dignified, serving as regent while Henry campaigned in France. However, the marriage's central tragedy was the failure to produce a surviving male heir. Of their several children, only Princess Mary survived infancy. As years passed and Catherine aged beyond childbearing, Henry became increasingly desperate. He convinced himself that their marriage was cursed by God because Catherine had been his brother's widow, despite the papal dispensation that had allowed the union. Henry's desire for an annulment led to a momentous break with Rome when Pope Clement VII refused. This sparked the English Reformation, with Henry declaring himself supreme head of the Church of England. Catherine refused to accept the annulment, maintaining until her death in 1536 that she was Henry's true wife and queen. Anne Boleyn, the woman who changed England, married 1533 to 1536. Anne Boleyn, a charismatic and educated lady-in-waiting, captivated Henry completely. Unlike other royal mistresses, Anne refused to become Henry's lover without marriage, a calculated gamble that changed history. Her influence helped push Henry toward breaking with Rome. Their secret marriage in January 1533, while Henry was still technically married to Catherine, scandalized Europe. Anne was crowned queen, but her triumph was short-lived. She gave birth to Princess Elizabeth, not the hoped-for son. 2 subsequent pregnancies ended in miscarriage or stillbirth. By 1536, Henry had tired of Anne and become infatuated with Jane Seymour. Anne was arrested on trumped-up charges of adultery, incest, and treason. After a show trial, she was executed at the Tower of London in May 1536, the first English queen to be publicly executed. She died with dignity, her final words praising the king. Jane Seymour, the beloved, married 1536 to 1537. Jane Seymour, a modest and gentle lady-in-waiting, became Henry's 3rd wife just 11 days after Anne Boleyn's execution. Unlike his previous wives, Jane seemingly had little ambition for herself and presented the submissive femininity Henry now preferred. Jane's great triumph came in October 1537 when she gave birth to Prince Edward, the male heir Henry had longed for. The kingdom rejoiced, but the celebrations turned to mourning when Jane died 12 days later from complications of childbirth. Henry genuinely mourned her and later chose to be buried beside her. In his eyes, she had succeeded where others failed, and her early death preserved her as his true wife in memory. Anne of Cleves, the lucky one, married January to July 1540. After Jane's death, Henry's ministers encouraged him to marry for political alliance. Thomas Cromwell arranged a match with Anne of Cleves, a German princess. Henry agreed based on a flattering portrait by Hans Holbein, but when he met Anne in person, he was deeply disappointed, reportedly calling her a Flanders mare. The marriage was never consummated, and Henry sought an annulment after just 6 months. Wisely, Anne agreed without protest. In return for her cooperation, she received a generous settlement, including several estates and the honorary title of the King's beloved sister. She remained in England, outliving Henry and all his other wives, and maintained friendly relations with the royal family. Of all Henry's wives, Anne of Cleves made out the best. Catherine Howard, the tragic youth, married 1540 to 1542. After the humiliation of the Cleves marriage, the aging Henry fell passionately in love with Catherine Howard, a vivacious teenager and first cousin to Anne Boleyn. Their marriage briefly revitalized the king, who called Catherine his rose without a thorn. However, Catherine's past soon caught up with her. Rumors emerged of sexual relationships before her marriage, and evidence suggested she had committed adultery with a courtier, Thomas Culpeper. Whether the evidence was genuine or exaggerated, Henry felt utterly betrayed. Catherine was convicted of treason and executed at the Tower of London in February 1542, aged only about 19. Her reported last words were a plea for mercy for her family and a confession of her deserved fate. Catherine Parr, the survivor, married 1543 to 1547. Henry's sixth and final wife was Catherine Parr, a wealthy, twice-widowed noblewoman in her 30s. Intelligent and tactful, Catherine had hoped to marry Thomas Seymour, but dutifully accepted the king's proposal instead. Catherine proved to be an excellent stepmother to Henry's 3 children, helping to reconcile the king with his daughters Mary and Elizabeth. She was well-educated and interested in religious reform, publishing devotional works under her own name. Her reformed religious views nearly led to her arrest for heresy in 1546, but she skillfully placated Henry by submitting to his authority. Catherine survived Henry, who died in January 1547. She finally married Thomas Seymour shortly after, but died in childbirth in 1548, just over a year after gaining her freedom. Legacy. The famous rhyme summarizes their fates: divorced, beheaded, died; divorced, beheaded, survived. Henry's marital odyssey had profound consequences. It triggered the English Reformation, ended centuries of papal authority in England, dissolved the monasteries, and redistributed vast wealth and land. His daughter Elizabeth, born to the disgraced Anne Boleyn, would become one of England's greatest monarchs. The 6 wives themselves, far from being mere victims, were complex women who navigated the dangerous waters of Tudor politics with varying degrees of success, leaving their own marks on history. The 6 wives themselves, far from being mere victims, were complex women who navigated the dangerous waters of Tudor politics with varying degrees of success, leaving their own marks on history.